welcome to Tea and a Butty on New Year's Eve.
New Year's.
Yeah, New Year's Eve.
I'm Erica.
I'm Dominic. In case you didn't know who we were.
Yeah, in case you stumbled upon us by accident.
So New Year's Eve.
New Year's Eve tonight.
2019.
The end of a decade.
The end of a decade, yeah, the
I
teens.
can't believe it. I wasn't even thinking of it like that, crazily
No,
enough.
You don't really. I just saw it on social media.
Yeah.
People doing their at the start of the decade and at the end.
Yeah.
And it's going to be the 20s tomorrow, at the start of the 20s and everything. So,
yeah. It's a weird time.
Yeah, it is. It's been a crazy year.
Yeah.
And it's been a crazy decade, too.
It's been a crazy year, and quite frankly, I'm ready for it to be over.
Yep.
Roll
Start
on
anew.
2020. Yeah.
Let's do this again.
We're actually not going to talk about New Year's.
We're not going to talk
episode.
New Year's in this episode. No, we're going to do that in a Patreon-only podcast.
Yeah.
So that's for our patrons only.
Yeah, so on Patreon,
Yes.
we're going to, and that'll be actually later in the month, so if you want to check that out, you can go over to our Patreon page.
And sign up and...
Yeah. But on that episode, our secret podcast, we'll talk about the differences or similarities, I guess.
I think that, we can leave that for that
yeah,
podcast.
Yeah, between Britain and America and the way we celebrate New Year's.
Yeah,
if there's any kind of quirky any of that. So if you're interested in that, go check out.
Head over to our Patreon, check it out, sign up.
Yeah.
And we love you for it.
In this episode, however...
Gavlar!
Gavlar!
We're going to be talking about that hit show, Gavin and Stacey.
You guys, we just got Amazon Prime over the holidays.
Yes, and we watched a couple of things. We watched The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, which we will probably talk about in another
fabulous.
Podcast.
Fabulous.
I think we've already actually talked about it some.
I don't know, yeah.
Maybe we have. And we watched a couple of movies. The Aeronauts, that wasn't too bad.
Okay.
It was okay. But then
Late Night,
that was another movie. Emma Thompson and Mindy Kaling.
Yeah, that was pretty good actually.
Yeah,
that was better than expected.
Better than expected, I think. Yeah. But then we decided to check out Gavin and Stacey. Having lived in Britain when it was originally on, I have heard of Gavin and Stacey. It was a hit when it came out. Well, season 2, it became a kind of like hit.
Yeah. And
that was around 2007. But I never really watched it, even though I was living in Wales at the time, and part of it is set in Wales. The
I can remember. Oh, go ahead. I won't interrupt you.
Okay, just remember what you were going to say, though.
It won't happen, but sure.
It's basically the premise of the show is Gavin meets Stacey. They've been on the phone because their two companies talk to each other every day about whatever they do.
I think maybe it was two branches.
Branches of the same office, maybe, yeah. And so she lives in Barry, near Barry Island in Wales, and he lives in Billericay, which is in Essex in England. And so they've been talking, and then they decide to meet up. And it's written by James Corden and Ruth Jones. James Corden, of course, now is known as the host of The Late Late Show over here in the States.
Mm-hmm.
And this is what made him James Corden, this is what got him big, got him famous.
Even though, funnily enough, we didn't get Gavin and Stacey over here.
No, you didn't. So
a bunch of Americans, I don't think, really knew who he was.
Yeah, and outside of Gavin and Stacey, his career wasn't really that huge.
Yeah.
He was just known for being this character of Smithy.
Well, what I was going to say...
the best friend of Gavin.
What I was going to say is I remember going to Britain, I think the first time, maybe the second time, and we were like flipping through the channels, just sitting at your house, what to watch, and Gavin and Stacey was on, and you were like, don't want to watch that. So,
I wasn't into it. I wasn't into it at the time, It's just because I wasn't into it at the time. I wasn't really watching anything that came on at that time.
Yeah, you weren't really interested. I don't know if you had ever even really seen it though. Had you?
I'd only seen like half an episode, and I was just like, ugh.
Yeah.
It didn't catch my attention then, but now I can watch it.
Now we binged it.
So. We binged it, so it kind of it made sense,
Yeah.
It started on BBC Three, this defunct digital channel that they had in the UK at that time, and then it had a following. It was written by James Corden and Ruth Jones. As I said, Ruth Jones played Nessa in the series.
Yeah.
And they were the best mates of the main characters.
And is she Welsh in real life?
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
Ruth Jones sounds Welsh, doesn't it?
Yeah, Ruth Jones. And of course, I think they wrote their characters as the most interesting. Whereas Gavin and Stacey, if that was the focus of the show, they weren't as interesting as Smithy and Nessa and everyone else, really. Pam and Mick, the parents.
Yeah, funnily.
Gwen and Uncle Bryn, you know.
We were binging it, and I said to Dominic, I was like, Gavin and Stacey are the least interesting characters.
They're the least
in
interesting
the show.
characters, really. And they're the focus, that they're the titular characters, you know. And it was... Yeah, they just didn't really... It was just kind of like any old love story of people meeting.
Yeah,
you know,
she's cute. I mean,
they're not
terrible.
They're not terrible. They're not boring or anything, you know. It's like... But they were just the least interesting of everyone else. Smithy and Nessa and, you know, everyone else. I mean, if you haven't seen Gavin and Stacey, go watch it. I mean, there's probably a lot of people who have.
Yeah, romantic comedy sitcom. I mean...
Yeah.
You know, the thing is being American and having seen... British people online just rip James Corden. They just hate James Corden. But at the same time, I saw that people were really interested. I don't know if we mentioned this yet, that there was a Gavin and Stacey Christmas special this year in Britain. It's been off the air for 10 years?
Yeah, 10 years next year.
Yeah.
It'll have been off the air.
And
they only did 3 seasons from 2007 to 2009, really, because I think that the last episode aired on New Year's Day.
And I saw that
and then it's been off the air for 10 years, you know. James Corden's got his career going over here. The rest of the actors, they've kind of done other stuff, you know.
And though people hate James Corden in Britain... Oddly, there's a lot of
people
were excited for the Gavin and Stacey special
coming back. Yeah, so that aired on Christmas Day, and it caught everyone up with what's been going on.
Mm-hmm.
And that's probably what they'll do from now on.
Just do a Christmas special.
Yeah, they've been writing it in secret for the entire year or whatever, and then they just came out and there's going to be a Gavin and Stacey Christmas special.
Okay, so spoiler alert if you have not seen the Christmas special. The best part of it for me was that Neil the baby was actually Neil the baby. The actor who played Neil the baby as a baby was Neil the baby as a kid.
Yeah.
As a 10 years later kid.
They got the actor back.
That was so good.
Yeah, I mean, spoiling it for people now.
Yes.
There's
Stop listening if you haven't seen it yet and you still want to.
There's a Neil the baby in it, and he's an actual baby, you know. He's the child of Smithy and Nessa.
Yeah.
And you know, and the actor who played the baby in it was actually the 10 year, because 10 years have passed, obviously, in real time. He was actually the child, you know.
Oh, Neil the baby.
Oh, Neil the baby. Oh, Neil the baby.
Yeah, no, as soon as they showed him, I reckon because we had been binging it.
And so we just watched the Christmas special, you know, straight after the last episode of Series 3.
Yeah. Yeah. I recognized him instantly. I was like, that's the same actor who played him as the baby because he looks exactly the same. And then I looked it up and sure enough it wasn't. I was thrilled, quite frankly.
I was thrilled. She was very, very excited about that.
I was over the moon. Say it in Uncle Bryn's voice.
She was over the moon, she was. That the baby was actually the baby. Yes. And of course, we nearly found out what happened on that fishing trip, didn't we? Again, another spoiler, but no, we didn't actually find out.
Yeah.
We were going to find out, then the kids walked in.
There were people on social media saying, I'm gonna need another episode that actually tells us what
They're never
happened.
going to, though.
No, they're never going to.
That's why.
And the characters don't want to know at this point.
Yeah, the characters don't want to know. Is that I think it's time everybody knew. It's like, oh, I don't want to know.
Yeah, they were just like, oh, no, actually, no, we do not want to know at this point.
Everybody got back into their character for the Christmas special so well,
good.
Considering it's been off the air for 10 years.
Yeah, that never
the only one who kind of didn't, really, was Smithy, was James Corden.
Well, you thought that. I mean,
he did fine, but I think it was just kind of like, I don't know, he just wasn't as Smithy as... Maybe he was dumbing it down because he knows how much hate he's got in the UK now.
Yeah.
But I don't know, yeah.
I thought the actor who played Gavin seemed more full of personality in the Christmas special than he did in the series. Yeah, and maybe he just thought, oh, I need to step it up because I wasn't that interesting in the series.
I've rewatched the series and Gavin wasn't that interesting, was he? I mean, he was supposed to be, I think.
He was the absolutely least interesting, even over Stacey, I think.
Stacey, yeah, because Stacey, they made her quite interesting,
She was cute, yeah.
Like they said, oh yeah, she's had all the engagements and all that,
yeah.
and it was just kind of like, what? And it seemed like Gavin was very much like new to relationships.
Yeah. I mean, I really, having binged the show and then watching the Christmas special, I really do not understand the hate for James Corden. The British hate, because in America, we don't hate him.
No, I mean, it was because he was overexposed.
Overexposed, commercialized, is he?
Is what it was, it's like he was the breakout character, even over Nessa, which was Ruth Jones's character. He was the breakout character everybody took to Smithy, because he was so full of life and he was so, crazy and doing his robotic dance and...
Okay, so, so here's the discussion Dominic and I had about this. Because I said, Dominic said, well, he wrote the show, so they wrote their characters to be interesting.
Wrote their characters to be
interesting. And I said,
but
the actor is really, for me, it was more just his own personality showing through so much rather than what was actually being said or backstory or any of that kind of stuff. It was just that he just had a lot of personality that shined through. Yes. So it's just like you can't fault an actor for that. That's what you're supposed to do.
No, you can't fault him for that at all. But I think what happened then is when Smithy became famous, around 2009. He was everywhere. He was popping up as Smithy on Comic Relief and everything like that. And he was in character at like award shows and stuff. Yeah. And then him and Matthew Horn, who plays Gavin, decided, we'll do a sketch show. We'll be a comedy duo. And it didn't really work. They only did one series of it, and it was completely trashed.
Oh, because the actor who plays Gavin doesn't have that much personality.
Yeah, but also it's like a lot of people were just like, they were sick of seeing James Corden make fun of himself.
Yeah.
He got too big, too
because
much,
there was sort of a lot of like, there wasn't though, actually. I'm saying like there was a sort of reference to him being fat, but there wasn't really.
No,
there was more so in the Christmas special.
Yeah. No, there wasn't. There was more so in the Christmas special, yes, but...
I mean, he wasn't, like, lazy. He was, like, he had a job.
Yeah, no.
He took care of his kid once the kid
was born,
he had an interest in the kid. It's just like, they
wrote him as this lovable character who everybody liked, but he wasn't everyone's cup of tea.
Yeah.
And it's literally like...
That's how he is in real life.
That's how he is in real life, I think. He's not everyone's cup of tea. And it's just kind of funny.
But what is it about him that British people don't like?
I don't know. Maybe he's just rubs... Some people just rub people up the wrong way, I mean,
are you one of these British people? I don't know if I've ever really asked
I don't care about James Corden either way, really. I mean, I like him enough, It's like, I'm not like, that James Corden, can't stand him, get him off my... TV.
I can't remember what the thing was that I saw him in before he got, because he was in something. We saw him in. Oh yeah, and then we saw him in an
episode of Doctor Who.
And then we saw him in Begin Again with Adam Levine and.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, he was okay in that. Yeah. That's what I mean. I mean, he was popping up in everything, and people were getting sick of him. Yeah, and that's what it was. It's like
because. Yeah. British people like an underdog, and so he was becoming popular, so they didn't like him anymore.
Yes, that's what it was. I mean, they liked Smithy. I don't know how the fans of Gavin and Stacey feel. I'm sure they like James Corden's character, and they like James Corden. But I think James Corden, he kind of like, he started just being there all the time, and it was just kind of like, people were like, oh, why is he getting so much attention? Why are we giving him so much attention?
Yeah.
Oh,
Mm-hmm.
he should just stick to being Smithy and that's it,
Yeah.
And so, everybody hated him, I mean, we knew people who didn't like him,
Yeah.
We saw a lot of people who were like, oh, James Corden, don't like him.
I mean, from what I
Get him off my TV.
My impression before we watched Gavin and Stacey was that it was going to be sort of lowbrow. And it wasn't really. It was just your basic,
really
like, run-of-the-mill kind of romantic comedy.
Sitcom, yeah.
Yeah. And you had some really interesting characters. I mean, I couldn't ever decide whether I actually liked Uncle Bryn or not, because he was...
Yes, no, and
he was a bit creepy in some ways, but then he was funny, and he seemed like a nice guy, and it's just like...
That was another thing. A lot of Welsh people don't like Gavin and Stacey.
Oh, because
it kind of...
Stereotypical
it kind of,
Welsh characters?
It stereotypes Welsh characters,
Yeah.
yes. I mean, there's a lot of Welsh people who do, who like see, I know a guy like Uncle Bryn. I know someone like Nessa. I know a girl like Stacey, and I know a woman like Gwen.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just kind of like, it's just like, and it was like English people making fun of
Welsh people.
That's
yeah.
what this, yeah. I mean,
but I mean, if that Ruth Jones, if she's really Welsh
Yes.
in real life, then, I mean, she was a writer on it, so...
Yeah. I don't know, really. I just remember a lot of people like, oh, I don't like Gavin and Stacey, or that bloody English.
Yeah. Because I think we as Americans don't realize that sort of rift that there is between
Gavin and
English
Stacey
and
actually
Welsh.
handled it pretty well, I think, considering.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they came to Wales, and they were just kind of like, oh, well, everyone speaks Welsh here, and it's like, no, they don't.
Yeah.
It's like, it's on the sides, it's like, yeah, you just got to forget that, ignore that. It's just like, everyone speaks English for the most part,
Yeah. It's basically the same. It's just, and I mean, they've kind of made it like, Welsh people are so super friendly.
Yeah, they did.
Gavin went and got...
Keeping a welcome in the hillside and all that kind of stuff.
Again, a spoiler, but Gavin got the job in Wales, and...
all his workmates were fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he kept freaking out because all his family and friends and everybody were like, calling him on his first day. How's it going? How's the first day? How are you settling in and everything? And he was talking to his boss, and he was just like freaking out because, oh God, this looks really bad that they're all calling me and I'm at work and I need to be working and stuff. And his boss was Welsh. What was it, like the little IT guy?
IT guy, Owain Hughes.
Yeah, he was Welsh. Oh, we didn't look that up.
Yeah, I did.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
And what's the joke?
The joke is the people think there is no joke. It's just something that the Welsh are keeping from the English.
Oh, yeah.
It's like that old... Bryn, in the scene, Bryn came to the office to see Gavin, and he's like, oh, this is Owain Hughes.
And do you?
And he goes, no, I don't. And they all just go, ha, 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 ha,
Yeah.
And it's like, it's kind of like...
And Gavin has no idea what's going on.
And he's asked Smithy, and Smithy's like, yeah, I don't know. I don't know what that's all about.
Yeah.
I don't... Owain Hughes, no, I don't. What's that?
Yeah.
And it's like, it's just... something that there's an in-joke that the Welsh are keeping from the English.
Yeah.
But I think it's more to do with the things, do you own Owain Hughes?
Oh, yeah.
No, I don't.
Yeah.
Like Wayne Hughes, a name.
Okay, yeah.
Do you Owain Hughes?
Owain Hughes, yeah.
And they say Owain, but it's spelled Owain.
Yeah.
So it's Owain Hughes,
Right. But then, so you get back to... everybody calling and all of that.
Yeah.
And Gavin's worried that, his boss is going to think whatever, like.
Yeah.
He's just embarrassed. But the boss is like, oh, yeah, I get the call. It's fine. Everything's great.
Everything's
and then
great.
Bryn comes and knocks on the window, and he's just like, oh, come inside.
Come inside. What are you doing out there, Bryn? Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's sort of like I mean, that's...
I mean, you kind of... I mean, what do you think? You've been to Wales. You can...
Do I think they're all that friendly?
They're all that friendly, you know, with their characterizations.
I mean...
good.
I mean,
I'm kind of like, you know, because I lived there so long, I can see them, yes.
I mean, I didn't meet anybody like Bryn that I can really remember.
I mean, Bryn is an amalgamation of several people.
Yeah.
I've met people...
You said, oh, he's your stereotypical Welshman, but I'm like, I don't
He's
really...
like stereotypical, like, oh, I don't know the internet. And
yeah.
all this kind of things. And I've heard it all now.
I mean, we didn't really go...
He was very exaggerated.
I would have...
You know.
I would expect that maybe people like that exist who live more like in the Welsh country.
Yeah, in the Welsh countryside, yeah.
And I haven't met anybody who lives in the Welsh countryside, so I don't, you know, I don't know.
For me, like that Dave Coaches and
yeah,
Nessa,
yeah.
they were very, like,
yeah.
true to form Welsh
yeah.
people.
Yeah.
You know, I've met several
so.
people
and I mean,
like
just
that,
everybody being
just like,
friendly, I think,
you don't know where you stand with them, really, you know. 'Cause they're so, like... Oh,
yeah. All right.
I knows it.
Yeah.
I know. You know, trying to play it cool.
Yeah.
That's very much people I've met in the pub and stuff.
As far as
there's causes of people like Bryn's like, I didn't know about that kind of thing.
Yeah.
I didn't know. I've worked with people who are like Bryn, who are very exaggerated in the Welsh accent. They're talking like that at you, and they're like, are you okay, boy? Yes. Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
You know? And it's just like, God.
Oh my God, one thing I find so cringy about the show, this is totally off topic, but the uncle, well, Stacey's brother. I don't know.
Yeah.
I guess they've given him like a tan because he lives in Spain.
Yeah, but it looks like
the makeup is terrible.
Yes, it looks terrible on him, yes.
It's almost like a creepy... I mean, dare I say blackface. It's not quite that, you know, it's not quite that extreme, but it's just so bizarre. I don't know if that's supposed to be a joke.
He lives with
or if it's just a terrible makeup artist or what, but it's just...
I think it's supposed to be like a joke.
Yeah. This is what people come back from Spain looking like. Yeah, I guess so. Okay.
Yeah. They've been in the sun.
If I look at it like that, then it's funny, I guess. They've been in the sun too long in that Spain,
they have.
I guess, yeah. Because there are a lot of, like, kind of jokes and really sort of...
It looked like a spray tan.
Yeah. It looked like that episode of Friends where Ross keeps getting 2s on the same side all the time. You know, he wants 2 1s, but they give him a 2.
Yeah.
And then when he's getting the spray tan.
And it just made him look really dark.
Darker and darker. Yeah,
yes.
It's like that. Yeah, okay. So I can accept it if it's a joke, but other than that, I was just like, it looks just terrible. It's so like cringy. I don't know. As far as the Welsh characters in there, yeah, I mean everybody I've met in Wales is pretty friendly, so pretty nice, and you know, the language though that they use, I don't know if it's
kind of like
typical
hip.
of that. Oh, you think
it's trying to be hip? Yeah.
Because I didn't hear anybody.
Where to you going?
Yeah, I didn't hear anybody talking like that in
Where
Wales.
to you going?
Where to from? Yeah.
Yeah.
Where to from? And then they would, and she said, "Oh," like you say,
like
"Oi." Yeah.
Oi. Oh no! A lot of people go, "Oh." A lot of people do the "Oh."
Oh, do
what
they?
You doing, boy?
Oh. Oh, I haven't heard anybody do that.
Yeah, that's like a Swansea kind of thing, you know.
Okay, I wasn't sure if it was just something.
Cardiff.
I wasn't sure if it was just something
South
that was
Wales,
like that their particular area, you know, because I didn't remember hearing it where you were from in Wales.
Yes.
So I didn't know if it was just very specific,
it's like,
know.
Oh, what you doing, boy?
Yeah.
Oh, you going down there, like? Yeah, I mean, yeah.
I knows it. Yeah, and then put in.
I knows it. Yeah. Oh, I knows it. Yeah, I've heard women do that. You know, I can see them. You know, it's like, oh, Dave, you going down there? What? You know.
Yeah.
I knows it. I knows it. I does.
But then you have Gavin's parents, and they're quite good. I like them too. Particularly his mom is just crazy, you know.
Oh, Pam.
Pam, yeah.
What does my name... What does my name mean in Welsh? It's like it means why.
Oh, yeah, because Bryn
introduces Bryn. It means hill in Welsh.
Yeah, everybody he introduces himself to.
Yes, everybody he meets. My name's Bryn. It means hill in Welsh. Oh, what does my name mean in Welsh? Why? Why what? It means why.
Yeah. And then you have their creepy family friends that are like the couple.
Dawn and Peter Sutcliffe. Yeah, there was that was another running joke. Is like
all of their last names.
Her name was Gwen West, Stacey West, I think, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Because his name was Bryn West, and so it was like she and Pam and Mick Shipman. They were like last names of serial killers.
And this is something only British people would get.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because West was, and they referenced it when she was, oh, she's going from West to be a shipman.
Yeah.
Why would you want to do that?
Yeah. She was going to be shot of that last name finally. And then she goes to shipman.
And then she goes straight to shipman. I think it was that Doris.
Yeah.
It was like,
the neighbor.
Who was the crazy old Welsh lady. But yes, it's also a case of like, Peter Sutcliffe.
Yeah.
He was known as the Yorkshire Ripper.
Oh, yeah.
So it's Dawn and Peter Sutcliffe. I was like, oh, God, yeah. So it's like
and they're a couple that's always at each other's throats. Yeah.
But they never split up.
Yeah, and you're just like, why? They absolutely hate each other, and they're always fighting in public and calling each other horrible names, but they just stay together the whole time. Yeah. And all of their friends, all of Gavin's friends, you quite like them. They don't make too
Gavin
much
Smithy's friends, Dirt Box and Fingers and Jesus and Chinese Alan. Yeah, they're the typical faceless friends you've grown up with in school. English lads,
Yeah.
The boys. Yeah, people you've grown up with and you never said Chinese Alan. And it's just like, you'd think, oh, his name's Chinese Alan because he's Chinese.
Yeah.
It's like, no, it's because he worked... And I called it before we even saw the character. I was like, the character is not Chinese.
Yeah. Yeah, you
it's
did,
like,
yeah.
He's like, he's not anywhere ethnic at all. He's white.
And
it's probably because he works at a Chinese takeaway or something.
And Pam has somebody,
Japanese Margaret.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's probably because they distinguish it because there's two Margarets and there's Big Fat Sue.
Big Fat
Sue. It's like, yeah, that's very kind of like...
And we saw her and she wasn't that fat.
I mean, that's something... I think that might be something that's specific to Britain too, like giving people nicknames...
Yeah.
Based on...
I mean, nicknames exist in America, obviously.
Yes, but to just differentiate this like crazy, like Chinese Alan and Dirt Box and Fingers. And...
Yeah. I thought, overall, just to, like, wrap this up, I thought it's a pretty good show.
It's a pretty good show,
It's fun to watch.
It's fun to watch. I mean, it's not the greatest, but, it's
but there's nothing wrong with it. There's nothing like, oh, God, I can't stand that show.
Yeah.
I mean, not for me, anyway. I thought it was fine. I thought it was a fun show.
Yeah.
There's some good running
and it was
jokes,
very popular, yeah.
like the fishing trip and
that bloody fishing trip, eh, Bryn? When will it end?
Yeah. And I mean, there's just some other, like, things like, what's the friend's name? Ruth Jones' character?
Nessa,
yeah. She's always wearing the black fish
She's always
nets.
making the black fish nets, and, she comes up with a story, like, she's...
Oh, yeah.
I was on tour with The Who.
Yeah.
And, you don't know how old she is. She's, like, this mysterious character. She looks about in her 30s, maybe.
Yeah.
Late 20s, early 30s, but it's like, she seems to be quite older than Stacey.
Yeah.
And all the characters like, oh yeah, I used to be in a relationship with John Prescott.
Yeah.
And, there's other things as well, like when she toured China and, she was working in the circus. She's had all this she's had this crazy life. And you think, like, you automatically think, oh, yeah, she's just making this up.
Yeah.
But she's backed up by, like, Bryn, and she's backed
going,
up, like, Stacey.
I remember that, yeah.
And Gwen.
And then it turns out, later on you go in the series, that Stacey's
got a little bit of a past.
A little bit, too. Yeah.
Yes.
Oh,
Did we get a mention in Russell Brand's book?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Oh, can you imagine if I'd married Kevin Spacey? I would have been Stacey Spacey.
Yes.
Yeah, so it's funny. It's a cute show. I don't see any reason why anybody would hate it or hate James Corden because of it, or, you know, it's just it's something that goes above this little American head of mine. The reason that people hate James Corden and Gavin and Stacey, I didn't find a reason.
Gavin and Stacey, unfunny. Oh,
yeah. No, it was.
It was pretty good.
It was fine. Yeah.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it. So, and I wouldn't.
And I
mind
think you will too.
Yeah, if you haven't seen it,
it's on Amazon Prime.
Like
all
totally
3
put you
seasons.
off of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's on Amazon Prime right now. Yeah. I don't know how long they keep things on Amazon
Oh
Prime.
yeah, they might get rid of it. Yeah.
But yeah, it's on there now. So go check that out. Binge it. It doesn't take long. I think there was only 6 episodes per season.
Yeah, that's the best thing about British shows. They're short and sweet. You don't have to like watch 24 episodes a season and, you know.
Yeah, and they're only
get
22, 24 minutes long, something like that.
30 minutes, yeah, at most.
Mm-hmm. Except the Christmas special, yeah, it was like an hour.
There was a Christmas special after season 2 as well, so.
Mm-hmm. So, I think we're done here.
I think we're done here.
We have to go party the night away now.
Happy New Year, everybody.
Happy New Year.
We'll see you in 2020.
Yes, hopefully. And we thank you so much for sticking with us this year. Yes. This is our first full year of this podcast.
Yeah, our first full year. We've been doing this since before.
Yeah. We started it sort of around this time of year last year.
2018.
And then we had to take like a break in there just for a while because our computer
kaputzed.
Yeah.
Kaputzed.
But yeah, this is
it's all
our
back
first
and running
full
now,
year.
Though. It's all fine. It's great.
If by chance you have stuck with us since the beginning, then we really
appreciate it. And thank you very much to all our loyal followers out there.
We thank you so much. Thank you for your feedback on social media and any kind of comments you give us on Facebook about these episodes and stuff. We appreciate knowing that you're listening and we're not just doing this for absolutely no reason.
We appreciate it very much.
And we hope you'll stick around in 2020 and
got more exciting new content coming.
Yeah. We hope you have a great New Year's Eve.
Yes, and Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Have a Happy New Year, everybody.
Da, 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 da. We were going to sing another song, a New Year's Eve one, but we didn't get it prepared, so we're just that professional.
Good old acquaintance being forgot. Yeah, I mean, I could get the guitar now, but it's too late. New Year is a coming, boyo.
Happy New Year, guys.
Happy New Year.
We'll see you next year.
See you next year.
Bye.
Bye.